What's going on, Dolph fans? It is your boy Dillon, and I got some important updates for you today. Some of it's COVID related, some of it's Dolphins injury related, so let's get right into it. I'm going to start with the COVID stuff first, and this is being reported by multiple sources. I'm getting it on my Bleacher Report app. Ravens versus Steelers postponed to Tuesday amid COVID-19 outbreak. So first of all, again, just to reiterate, they can't control it. They never cared to control it. It's going to keep getting worse, blah, 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 all that stuff. Also, quick side note, I just saw that there was an Ohio State coach that just tested positive. Let's see, Lamar Jackson tested positive, so he's not going to play in the game no matter what. Winter sports are going to come crashing down, I think, soon. I don't know. I mean, maybe not. Like I said, it's pretty clear that all they care about is, profits. So they're going to push it no matter what. And theoretically, with these vaccines coming out, I want to see that. I personally would want to see the data on the trials and stuff before, taking one. And frankly, it's going to be too expensive for me to get anyway, so I probably wouldn't be able to get one. But they should all be able to get one. So theoretically, with that, I don't see why they would stop the season when all they care about is their profits. They should, obviously. But anyway, point is it's just such a massive disaster. And, DeForest Buckner, that was another one. The Colts defensive end, I believe, tested positive. I mean, it's just there's a pretty substantial outbreak in the NFL. Not just with the Ravens, but across the NFL, and it's ridiculous, and it's only going to get worse. And again, I'm telling you, man, it's only a matter of time before somebody fucking dies. All right, anyway, let's get into this, though, because look, this game was supposed to be played yesterday, right? The Ravens and Steelers. Then it got pushed back just a few days to Sunday because they're like, there's an outbreak and people are testing positive and people could die, but and the proper protocols would be to shut their team facility down, cancel the games, and everybody that's in association with that organization, everybody, right? Because even if they don't necessarily come in within direct contact, right, or within 6 feet of, a person who has the virus, that doesn't mean that they can't get it because it's, in the building, right? Like, that doesn't mean that it's not in the building, floating around in the air, which is the primary method for transmission, and thereby able to infect people even that didn't come into close contact with them, right? So shut it down, cancel the games, blah blah blah, for a minimum of 2 weeks. That would be but they're just like, nah, fuck all that shit. None of that matters. We're just going to push the game back a few days. Well, now it's getting pushed back a couple more days to Tuesday. So now it's going to be it's and we'll see if it even ends up getting played. I mean, Tuesday is about as far as they can go because that's the end of the week for the football season, right? Like, if they can't push it back any farther. I mean, they can, but it's canceling the game then for this week, right? So it's full on canceling the game for this week. And but even past that, right? So many teams have now gone through their buys. They're just running out of real estate, so to speak, to be able to, finagle adjustments to the season. I mean, they still have a couple tricks at least up their sleeve of, expanding the playoffs to 16 teams. But I mean, it's such a shit fucking answer. Such a shit answer. But that goes to show you, though, that they don't care about the quality of the game either. Because, they don't care that fucking, it's going to let teams that theoretically shouldn't make it into the playoffs just so they can have the season continue, right? They care more about that and making their money than actually having a legitimate and competitive playoff field of teams that earned it, right? You know, anyway, so you get it. Let's get through this. The AFC North clash between the Baltimore Ravens and Pittsburgh Steelers has been postponed again after a COVID-19 outbreak with the former's organization. The game has been moved to Tuesday at 8 p.m. The NFL announced Friday. The league also announced the Ravens' next game against the Dallas Cowboys will be moved to Monday, December 7th at 5 p.m. It was originally scheduled for Thursday. ESPN's Adam Schefter and Diana Rossini first reported the news. Like I said, bro, they are running out. And I mean, yeah, Mark Ingram, J.K. Dobbins both tested positive. Let's see. At the time of the latest player positives, running back Mark Ingram, J.K. Dobbins, defensive lineman Brandon Williams, linebacker Pernell McPhee, defensive end Calais Campbell, and offensive lineman Patrick McCarry and Matt Skura had already been placed on the reserve COVID-19 list. And there's been discipline related to the outbreak. Again, you guys know how I feel. I think that's the most wrong answer for this whole thing. Like, because what is it doing? What is it doing? How is it helping, right? Their only answer, the NFL's only answer for these massive outbreaks is we're going to punish the shit out of people. And we're going to make it worse. We're going to start taking away draft picks. We're going to fine the fuck out of people. But is it working? You know, I'm not a person that lives in alternate reality. So, you know, I know that there are people out there that be like, yeah, dude, it's fine, bro. What do you mean? Like, it's all good. It's all good. They say it's fine, and they're still playing. They wouldn't be playing if it wasn't fine, right? Okay, well, no. The fact of the matter is clearly it's not fine, and it's clearly only getting worse. You know, so, like, whatever, dude. It's, I mean, it's mind-blowing to me, but it's, you know, I understand that this is the way that the world works. Like, but that's, you know, getting to a broader point, that's how, you know, these despicable people stay in power to begin with. And that includes people at the top of the NFL and the, you know, racist piece of shit fucking owners as well, right? Like, because they they manufacture consent for their despicable deeds by, you know, convincing people that they live in some alternate reality of, like, you know, good shit that doesn't exist. Okay, well, I mean, everybody's got to wake up sometime. You can keep dreaming all you fucking want, but that dream is going to fucking burst one day, and you're going to have to wake up. So, anyway, it's, you know, the discipline is just a fucking joke, and it clearly isn't fucking helping anything. Alright, well, anyway, let's move past that, because now the Dolphins have, you know, some very not good, some very not good information when it comes to their injuries, including Tua. So he is now officially listed as questionable. Him and Jakeem Grant are both actually listed as questionable. And in fact, they have running back Salvon Ahmed, who is listed as out, along with Solomon Kindley. So that's great. Look, I mean, obviously I told you, first of all, obviously I've been saying the key to the Dolphins season the rest of the way is if they can stay healthy. Unfortunately, that's not looking like that's going to be the case. But, you know, if we're keeping it real, that's what's expected. It's a violent sport. It's almost impossible for these players to, you know, maintain football, football shape, right? They can't stay in football shape because they're constantly having to, like, cancel practices, do things virtually. They have so many restrictions on how many guys can be in the building at a time. And those restrictions, I mean, I'm not even going to say those restrictions are good because they're not working, and the only right answer is to just shut the whole fucking thing down. Anyway, so now Solomon Kindley is going to be out of the game. We're down an offensive lineman. They played like trash last week against a bad, super beat-up team in the Broncos. Okay? Look, anything can happen, bro. We could be the Jets' first win. They're a winless team, but we could lose to them on Sunday. There is a possibility. I'm still predicting a win for the Dolphins, but there is substantial possibility that we could lose, especially because I'm pretty sure we're on the road for that game too, right? So anyway, so Solomon Kindley and Salvon Ahmed are both out, okay? That hurts our offense a lot. Huge. That's huge. Also, Jakeem Grant is questionable. So is Tua. Tua is now questionable. Real quick. So I was wrong. I admit that I thought Tua was going to come into the game at some point because either Ryan Fitzpatrick played bad, which didn't happen, and or he was injured, which didn't happen. He was mysteriously inserted into the lineup for whatever fucking reason. The real reason, whether people like to, admit it or acknowledge it or not, is just because they wanted the shiny new toy on the field. That was it. There was no urgency, no need, no necessity. It was just because they wanted to, right? And every other fucking thing they have to say about it is just a bullshit fucking excuse. And, there is evidence to the hypocrisy. I've gone over it before with Brian Flores' statements, the lies that he's told, etc., etc. So watch my previous videos for that, right? But anyway, so now you're going to be missing one of your top running backs. We should have Gaskin back, but he's just been out, right, recently. So he's going to have to fucking shake off the rust and get back into things. Who knows if he's, in football shape, right? Because he's been out for a minute. So, and it took less than 4 games for our injury-prone quarterback to get hurt. He's got 2 injuries now. He's got a foot injury and a hand injury. Real quick, let's talk about the hand injury. Tua Tagovailoa officially questionable with thumb injury. The Dolphins gave Tua a questionable designation for the game against the Jets. He injured his thumb during Wednesday's practice. He practiced every day this week on a limited basis. I mean, look, I would expect him. I actually do expect him to play. Especially because he was named the starter. He did practice the whole week, albeit on a limited basis, and he is their star quarterback that fucking whatever, blah, blah, blah. But look, man, if that offensive line, I mean, they're going to be without Solomon Kindley now. They're going to have to fucking, who knows, man. And they played terribly last week. They gave up 6 sacks. 6 sacks. If he has another game like this past week and gets just drilled all fucking game and is constantly fucking running for his life like last game and so on and so forth, bro, look, I've been telling you guys, I don't want it to happen, right? It's mostly because, I don't wish that on the kid, right? Like, it's not his fault that these things are happening. He's just going along with what they're telling him to do, right? So, but I've been saying, bro, for a while, my biggest concern with putting him in this season at all is that he can get injured. And it took less than 4 games for him to now have 2 injuries. So we'll see how it plays out. That's my concerns. You guys know how I feel. It is what it is, right? So real quick, anytime there's anything, you have to make a declaration. Coach Flores said via Cameron Wolf, we have to watch the film and see what he looks like. We just figured questionable was the best declaration for him. I mean, what are you saying there? What are you even saying there? He's just saying we had to put something and, whatever, dude. There's really not much to that. We know he was benched, blah, blah, blah. I mean, look, yeah, it's fucking, and just real quick to mention one more time that Ahmed and Solomon Kindley are officially ruled out now. They're not playing in the upcoming game. Also, Jesse Davis, though, is still, as far as I know, on the COVID list, right? So, it's Friday. He could be activated, but what if he's not? And what if Jesse Davis doesn't play? That offensive line has serious issues, right? Already. And I've told you, the Dolphins are not playing as well as people say that they're playing, or they would appear to be playing, especially by their record, right? Their offensive line still has significant issues. Last game really showed that, right? And they're going to be without guys now because they're getting hurt. So look, there's a huge chance, and I mean, without a couple of your playmakers, Jakeem Grant's one of his favorite targets. I love that, right? I love that. I love that he's got a thing going with Grant, and because Grant's one of my favorite players on the roster. I love that they have a connection, right? And that he likes to target him. But he's not going to be in the game, or I mean, he might be in the game, but he's, he's hurt and he's got a hamstring injury. So, I mean, it's a potential disaster. I hope not. Hopefully everything goes well. I mean, look, honestly, at this point, though, I'm probably going to say that it's going to end up being a low-scoring game. And I'm going to probably predict like a small Dolphins victory, right? So it'll probably be like something, I don't know, 14-10 or some shit like that, or 13-10 or whatever, I don't know. Something along those lines, right? Like that's the feel of it, right? The Jets are not a very good team. First of all, they came into the season with plenty of their own issues and rebuilding, so on and so forth. It was only Adam Gase's second year, but his first draft, which also, real quick side note, I looked at the early votes for the Pro Bowl. Xavier Howard did not get voted in, or is not, at the top. He's not leading, even though he leads the league in interceptions, and the Dolphins actually have been winning recently. So I find that snub to be kind of interesting and disrespectful, to say the least. But the Jets' first-round pick this year, Mekhi Becton, is leading for offensive tackle for the Pro Bowl. Because I'm telling you, man, if they give Gase another few years, he's going to turn that team around, man. His draft this year was fucking great, I think. But anyway, so they did have plenty of issues going into the season to get back on track, and then they just got decimated with injuries. I mean, Sam Darnold, I believe, is expected to be back, but, I don't really expect that to be all that much of a boon for the offense. Who knows? Maybe it will. Maybe he'll come back and he'll have a fucking fire lit under his ass, and he'll be healthy, and he'll just fucking sling it around the yard and beat us with his legs, because, we're not very good in the run game on defense, right? So, who knows? Maybe. But I'm still going to predict, a narrow Dolphins victory as of now. But it's likely to be a low-scoring game because we're playing a bad team that's super beat up, and we're starting to get beat up. And our offense has not proven to be all that high-powered. I mean, it's just not. There's really no argument for it, right? And, in fact, they were more high-powered with Fitzpatrick in the game. People can be upset about that all they want, but it's true. So, whatever, bro. Anyway, we'll see what happens. It's going to be hella interesting. I don't know if I'll be able to even watch the game, though. Since I don't have Sunday Ticket anymore, I might be able to watch it on CBS All Access. I do still have that. I will try and check that out. If I can watch it, it just depends, because it depends on what's playing in my local TV network or whatever, which is stupid and sucks. But if I can, then I'll try. If I'm able to watch the game, then I'll do a live stream. Otherwise, if not, then I'll just make sure to fucking do what I did last week, and I'll just do a deep dive into that shit, and I'll listen to the broadcast and whatnot, and then I'll just rewatch the game and do my, post-game analysis for you, then, right, on Sunday, like I did last week. I'll listen to the radio broadcast, and kind of watch the play-by-play a little bit. I'll probably do other things this time because I can do that kind of on the side, especially since then I'll just rewatch the game with Game Pass. I still have that as well throughout the rest of the season. That was paid up. It's a whatever. Anyway, so yeah, you get the point. That's the deal. Hopefully I can watch it and do a live stream. If not, then that's the case. Look, though, and just real quick, one last thing on that. Again, I mean, the Dolphins totally, they're still in a decent position, right? They're still only a game behind the Bills in the division, so there is still a chance that and they've been having, COVID issues and injury issues recently. I mean, they've had some injury issues throughout the season, but, the season is wearing on, and so they're experiencing more issues. and whatnot. So that last game of the season could be huge still, right? So they're still in good position. They're at 6-4. I do still expect them to win this game against the Jets. I expect them to win the game against the Bengals. Those are the next two. I then expect us to lose against the Chiefs. But I'm going to predict likely, I mean, it depends on how things go. If they lose against the Jets, then maybe not. But I was going to say, as of right now, still predict a win against the Patriots and a loss against the Raiders and Bills. That would put us at 9-7 on the season, but that would likely be good enough to get to the playoffs. And especially if, they end up having to expand the playoffs to 16 teams, that should be enough. And, even though it might be, from my perspective, a little bit of a mirage, it still is better than what we ended with last year. And going to the playoffs still would be, a nice change of pace, if you will, from the general norms of this team and not going, except for obviously in 2016 when Adam Gase took us there. But yeah, right. I'm not sure it's going to hold up. But we'll have to wait and see. But this game in particular, they can't lose this game. If they do, if the Jets beat them, then I mean that's crushing. That's crushing to not only their season. I mean, they could still theoretically have some, mathematical chance of making it to the playoffs, but really it crushes the progress that they've been, making, right? Last week was a pretty embarrassing loss, if I'm keeping it real, and it was definitely a humbling, back down to earth moment. But it was facilitated in large part because the Dolphins have started to catch up to the rest of the league in injuries and COVID issues, right? And so that's why I told you was the primary reason why they were overperforming in the first half of the season, right? Anyway, so they're finally starting to catch up, so you never know. I mean, there is a distinct, and it is at New York, so we are on the road for the second consecutive week. We got two important guys, Kinley and Ahmed, out, and with our franchise quarterback, it is one of his favorite targets as questionable. So Preston Williams is already out, right? He's been out. Austin Jackson's back, but he didn't play very well last week. The entire offensive line didn't play well, and they didn't even bring that many people. They brought 3 and 4 guys, 3 to 5 guys pretty much the entire game. Like, it's not like they even were blitzing a whole lot or anything like that. Like, the offense, they were just running, games and stunts and stuff like that, and they couldn't handle it. So anyway, there's a substantial possibility that this week could actually even be worse. With Kinley out, Ahmed out, the running game suffers. Our running game wasn't good last week either. And now the new top running back, Ahmed, is going to be out. And Gaskin's coming back from being out for a minute, right? Like, with Kinley out and Grant banged up and Tua banged up. There are concerns. All right, anyway, that's enough. I think you guys get the point. I'm concerned, but we'll see how it plays out. Like I said, to me, this is a must-win, though. It's for both the season and trying to improve on last year and actually potentially make it to the playoffs, even though I don't think it's an actual representation or a realistic representation of where the team is, right? Because if they do make it to the playoffs, it would happen to be in a incredibly fucked up season where you can't really truly evaluate any team, and they lucked out by being one of the healthier teams through the first half, or whatever, right? Anyway, so we'll see how it goes. They got to win this game, and then for the hopes of the franchise too, because if they lose, it's gonna be a hard hit. All right, with that, I'm gonna get out of here. I hope you guys appreciate my perspectives. If you do, make sure you hit the subscribe button, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you hit the bell if you want to get the alerts. Share my channel and videos with your friends and family. Leave questions, comments, and concerns down in the comment section. And of course, as always, follow me on Twitter at Dillon Tartaro. And with that, I am out. I'll see y'all soon. Fins up.